Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Sunday, July 8th, 2018. Today I'm going to recap the big UFC fight from last night, go over all the baseball scores from yesterday, look ahead to today's games, talk about the two FIFA matchups from yesterday, look ahead a little bit to the semifinals, and I'll do my best NHL moves since 2013 to continue the best and the worst of segments. I'll start off the worst of every league starting on tomorrow's podcast. And I'm going to close the podcast by picking my final all-star ballots for Major League Baseball. All right, here we go. Daniel Cormier defeated Stipe Miocic in the UFC match last night. It only took one round. Cormier had 31 strikes. Miocic had 29 strikes. Cormier had one knockdown. Miocic had no knockdowns, and each fighter had 0 submissions. Significant strikes. Cormier had 20 head strikes. Miocic had 15. Body strikes, Cormier had 1. Miocic had 6. Leg strikes, Cormier had 4. Miocic had 3. Strike percentage, standing strike percentage, Cormier had 84%, Miocic had 100%. Clinch, Cormier 8%, Miocic 20.8%. Ground, Cormier 16%, Miocic 0%. And that's pretty much what went on in the fight last night. And there's some other good fights before that in the undercard. All right, baseball from yesterday, some interesting results. I'm just going to do the scores and the winner, the loser, and the save if necessary. I'm not going to go through all the scoring details. The Twins defeated the Orioles 5-4 as they improved to 38-48. Baltimore drops to 24-64. Kyle Gibson improves to 3-6. Miguel Castro drops to 2-5. Fernando Rodney gets his 19th save of the year. The Cubs defeated the Reds 8-7 as they improved to 50-36. Cincinnati drops to 39-50. Randy Rosario improves to 4-0. Jared Hughes drops to 2-3. Brandon Morrow gets his 20th save of the season. The Phillies defeated the Pirates 3-2 as they improved to 49-37. Pittsburgh drops to 40-48. Jake Arrieta improves to 6-6. Jamison Tyone drops to 5-7. Victor Arano gets his second save of the year. The Cardinals defeated the Giants 3-2 as they improved to 46-42. The Giants dropped to 46-45. Carlos Martinez improves to 6-4. Jeff Samardzija drops to 1-5. Bud Norris gets his 17th save of the season. The Athletics defeated the Indians 6-3 in 11 innings as they improved to 49-40. Cleveland drops to 49-38. Blake Trinan with the win improves to 5-1. Josh Tomlin drops to 0-5. The Tigers defeated the Rangers 7-2 as they improved to 40-51. Texas drops to 39-51. Mike Fiers improves to 6-5. Cole Hamels drops to 4-8. The Yankees defeated the Blue Jays 8-5 as they improved to 57-29. Toronto drops to 41-47. Luis Severino improves to 14-2. J.A. Happ, perhaps in his Yankee audition, was not very good and only lasted 2 2/3 innings, drops to 10-5. The Braves defeated the Brewers 5-1 as they improved to 50-38. Milwaukee drops to 53-36. Anibal Sanchez improves to 4-2. Adrian Wilkerson drops to 0-1. I had the Braves on yesterday's podcast because there was a Fox Sports 1 game and I was correct. I was actually correct with all my picks yesterday. I'll go through them in a couple seconds once I get to them. The Rockies defeated the Mariners 5-1 as they improved to 46-43. Seattle drops to 56-34. Scott Oberg with the win improves to 2-0. James Paxton drops to 8-3. The Astros defeated the White Sox 12-6 as they improved to 16-31. Chicago drops to 30-59. Charlie Morton improves to 11-2. James Shields drops to 3-10. The Rays defeated the Mets 3-0 as they improved to 44-44. The Mets dropped to 35-50. Blake Snell improves to 12-4. Steven Matz drops to 4-6. Sergio Romo gets his 9th save of the year. The Dodgers defeated the Angels 3-1. I had the Dodgers. It was a Fox game. They improved to 48-40. The Angels dropped to 45-45. Ross Stripling improves to 7-2. Taylor Cole drops to 0-1. Kenley Jansen gets his 24th save of the year. The Red Sox defeated the Royals 15-4 as they improved to a Major League best, 61-29. KC drops to 25-63. Heath Hembree improves to 4-1. Jason Adam drops to 0-2. The Nationals defeated the Marlins 18-4 as they improved to 45-43. They've won 3 straight games. After that players only meeting, Miami drops to 36-55. Max Scherzer improves to 11-5. Wayne Chen drops to 2-6. The Diamondbacks defeated the Padres 20-5 as they improved to 50-40. San Diego drops to 38-53. Randall Delgado with the win improves to 1-0. Tyson Ross with the loss drops to 5-7. Today's games, 1 o'clock, Yankees, Blue Jays, Domingo Germán and Ryan Borucki. Athletics, Indians, Brett Anderson and Shane Bieber. Rangers, Tigers, Austin Bibbins Dirks and Michael Fulmer. Rays, Mets, Nathan Eovaldi and Chris Flexen. 1:30, you have Marlins, Nationals, Trevor Richards and Tanner Roark. Phillies, Pirates, Drew Anderson making his season debut against Nick Kingham. 2 o'clock, you have the Braves and the Brewers. Sean Newcomb and Junior Guerrera. Orioles, Twins. Alex Cobb and Jake Odorizzi. White Sox, Astros. Lucas Giolito and Dallas Keuchel. Red Sox, Royals. Rick Porcello and Heath Fillmyer. Reds, Cubs at 2:20. Red Sox, Royals is 2:15, by the way. Luis Castillo and John Lester on the bump for Reds, Cubs from Wrigley Field. 4 o'clock, you have the Cardinals and the Giants. Jack Flaherty and Madison Bumgarner. Rockies, Mariners. Antonio Senzatella and Wade LeBlanc. Colorado going for the sweep. Padres, Diamondbacks. Clayton Richard and Zach Greinke. And on Sunday Night Baseball tonight, you have the Dodgers and the Angels, 8 o'clock, ESPN. Alex Wood and Andrew Heaney. Heaney got off to a good start this season, but he's fallen off of late. Alex Wood has pitched a little bit better as the year was gone on. So give me the Los Angeles Dodgers in the rubber match of this weekend series. FIFA from yesterday. Some very, very fun games. England defeated Sweden 2-0 as England advances to the semifinals. Harry Maguire in the 30th minute, 1-0 England. Dele Alli in the 59th minute put England up 2-0, and that was your final. Croatia defeated Russia 3-2, and there was 4-3 on the penalty kick since there was a 2-2 real score. Russia actually got on the board first on a goal by Denis Trechev in the 31st minute, 1-0 Russia. Andrei Kararik in the 39th minute tied it up at 1 apiece. Then 2 goals in extra time. Domagoj Vida in the 101st minute, 2-1 Croatia. Then Russia ties it on a goal by Mario Fernandez in the 115th minute to tie it up at 2 apiece. Then to the penalty kicks. Fedor Smolov misses. Marcelo Brozovic scores for Croatia. Alan Zagovev scores for Russia. Mateo Kovacic misses for Croatia. Mario Fernandez misses for Russia. Luka Modric scores for Croatia. Sergei Ignashevich scores for Russia. Damajaj Vida scores for Croatia. Daler Kuziev scores for Russia to keep their hopes alive. Then Ivan Rakic scores for Croatia as Croatia advances to the semifinal. The semifinals begin Tuesday, July 10th, 2 o'clock on Fox. You have France and Belgium. And then Wednesday, July 11th, 2 o'clock on Fox, Croatia against England. I'll pick those games on the podcast on those respective days. NBA Summer League real quick from yesterday. Some fun games around the NBA in the Summer League in Vegas. The Trailblazers defeated the Jazz 93-78. Wade Baldwin, the former Grizzly, put up 20 in the win for Portland. Grayson Allen put up 16 in defeat for Utah. The Pacers defeated the Spurs 86-76. TJ Leaf put up 17 in the win for Indiana, the second-year player, or soon-to-be second-year player. Derek White put up 19 in defeat for San Antonio. The Pelicans defeated the Heat 110-84. Trayvon Blewett put up 26 in the win for New Orleans. He's looked good these first couple Summer League games. Duncan Robinson put up 18 in defeat. The Knicks defeated the Hawks 91-89. Kevin Knox was outstanding in his first game as a Knick in terms of the Summer League. 22 points in the win. John Collins was really good as well for Atlanta. He put up 30 in defeat. The Thunder defeated the Nets 90-76. Hamidou Diallo put up 19 in the win for OKC. Theo Pinson put up 16 in defeat for Brooklyn. The Suns defeated the Kings 71-63. DeAndre Ayton was outstanding, 21 points in the win. Harry Giles put up 17 in defeat. The Grizzlies defeated the Pistons 73-70. Wayne Selden put up 20 in the win. Henry Allenson put up 15 in defeat. The Bulls defeated the Cavaliers 86-81. Antonio Blackney put up 25 in the win for Chicago. Ante Zizic put up 25 in defeat for Cleveland. The Nuggets defeated the Celtics 82-79. Malik Beasley put up 19 in the win for Denver. Jabari Bird put up 24 in defeat for Boston. Last but not least, the Lakers defeated the 76ers 96-79. Josh Hart put up 24 in the win for LA. Zaire Smith put up 16 in defeat for Philly. Now I'm going to do the best NHL moves since 2013 by every team to continue this game segment that I'm doing on this podcast. I started by doing the best NFL moves from every team since 2013. Then I did baseball and NBA. And today I'm going to do hockey. Tomorrow I'll start the worst of portions of these segments. Tomorrow I'll do the worst of the NFL. Tuesday will be the worst of baseball. Wednesday will be the worst of basketball. And Thursday will be the worst of the NHL. So underway with the best of the NHL since 2013 by every team. Anaheim trading for Ryan Kessler. Kessler's been a solid player since coming over in the trade from the Vancouver Canucks. Yeah, he's getting a little old, but he's produced at a high level since he's became a member of the Anaheim Ducks. The Arizona Coyotes trading Max Domi for Alex Galchenyuk. I think this will turn out to be a great move for Arizona. I think Domi is not the player that many thought he'd be. So Arizona took advantage of a big trade offer and ate it. So I think this will turn out to be a long-term win for the Arizona Coyotes, as Max Domi will prove in Montreal that he's not the player that they think he is either. The Boston Bruins drafting David Pastrnak. Pasternak's on his way to being a star. That was a steal at where they selected him in the draft a couple years ago. Buffalo, this is easy, drafting Jack Eichel. Eichel's a franchise player, and he's only going to get better. Yeah, he's been hurt a lot, but when he's healthy, he's a franchise player. The Calgary Flames, drafting Johnny Gaudreau. Gaudreau's been a star since coming into the league. He was a Calder Award winner when he came up, and he's been a solid player in the league since he's been in the league. Carolina Hurricanes, stealing Sebastian Aho in the second round of the 2015 draft. Aho's been a great player for the Hurricanes these last couple years, as he's shown everyone why that he should have been a first rounder instead of a second rounder. Chicago, drafting Alex DeBrincat, another second round steal, as he will lead the way for the Blackhawks long term as they enter a little bit of a rebuild. The Colorado Avalanche, drafting Nathan MacKinnon, that was easy, as he was the first overall pick in the 2013 draft, and he's coming off the best season of his career last year, and I think he's going to stay playing at that high level. The Columbus Blue Jackets, trading for Brandon Saad, then trading him back to the Blackhawks for Artemi Panarin. I think those two moves were wins by Columbus. Saad produced when he was a Blue Jacket, and then they traded him for Artemi Panarin, and Panarin's going to be the better player long term. Now Columbus has to re-sign him. If not, trade him for as much as you can get. The Dallas Stars, trading for Tyler Seguin. That was a brilliant move by Dallas. And Sagan's been a point producer ever since he's been a member of the Stars. Detroit Red Wings, drafting Dylan Larkin. He was a steal of a first-round pick, and I think his game is only going to get better. This is the easiest one on the list. Edmonton Oilers, drafting Connor McDavid. He was the best player in the 2015 draft. He's already the best player in the National Hockey League, and all the Oilers have to do is surround him with great talent, especially on the defensive line, because his teammates, in terms of forwards, are all pretty good. The Oilers just need a better defense. The Florida Panthers, drafting Alexander Barkov. Barkov's been a great player since coming into the league. He was picked second overall, I believe, and he is an absolute star. Los Angeles, extending Anze Kopitar. Yes, Kopitar's deal is going to look bad at the end of the deal, but Kopitar's a franchise player, and Los Angeles wouldn't want to lose him for nothing. The Minnesota Wild, sticking with Devin Dubnyk. Yes, Dubnyk got paid big time after he broke out in a big way for the Minnesota Wild, and Minnesota deserves credit for sticking with him, then extending him. Montreal, trading for Philip Deneau. There's not many good moves the Montreal Canadiens have made over the last 5 years, but this is a good one, as they made a deal with Chicago, and Deneau's been a pretty solid player on the Canadiens over the last few years. The Nashville Predators, trading for PK Subban. You could have made a case for a lot of different things here, but straight up, PK Subban for Shea Weber, Shea Weber going to Montreal, was an absolute highway robbery for the Nashville Predators. The New Jersey Devils, hiring Ray Shero. I think that Shero has done an outstanding job turning around the New Jersey Devils. I thought Pittsburgh was going to regret firing him, but it turns out that they really didn't, as Jim Rutherford has come in there and they won 2 Stanley Cups. Ray Shero has done a fantastic job with this New Jersey Devils rebuild, pulling off the Adam Larson for Taylor Hall trade, as that was perhaps Shero's biggest win as Devils general manager. He also traded Adam Henrique for Semi Vatanen, and that's, I think, going to work out pretty well. And I think that the Devils franchise is heading in the right direction long term, and Shero deserves all the credit in the world. The New York Islanders drafting Matthew Barzal. That was a steal at where the Islanders selected Barzal. They actually had the trade for this pick, as this was originally Pittsburgh's first-round pick that they traded away to the Edmonton Oilers for David Perron. That was not a good deal for Pittsburgh. And then Edmonton, again, flipped that pick for Griffin Reinhart. That turned out to be a disastrous move for Edmonton, as the Islanders took advantage and were able to select Matthew Barzal. But in fairness, I don't think the Islanders thought that Barzal was going to be this good. But they deserve all the credit in the world for selecting Barzal there, as he's now become the face of that franchise now that John Tavares left in free agency. The New York Rangers, the 2018 trade deadline sell-off. The Rangers were sort of due for a little bit of a rebuild. A lot of aging guys on that roster, Henrik Lundqvist, Mark Stahl. And they ended up trading an aging Rick Nash to the Boston Bruins. A part of that to get the Bruins' first-round pick and some other prospects in that deal. And some other players, believe it or not, such as Ryan Spooner, who the Rangers might even trade. And they also trade away Ryan McDonough and JT Miller to the Tampa Bay Lightning for Tampa's first-round pick. And a lot of other pieces went back to the Rangers. So the Rangers put themselves in a great opportunity window to a little bit rebuild their roster. And because of that sell-off, that rebuild is going to go faster than many people expect. And heck, it might even go faster than the New York Rangers organization might think as well. Ottawa drafting Cody White. I think Cody White's a great player. I believe that he will recover from whatever injury issues he's had in the past and turn out to be a pretty solid player for the Sens. Philadelphia drafting Ivan Provorov. Provorov's on his way to becoming one of the better defensemen in this league. He's shown a ton of promise last year, and I think he and Shane Gostisbehere are a good 1-2 punch in Philadelphia. Pittsburgh, sticking with Matt Murray in net with those cup runs and long-term. Marc-Andre Fleury is somebody that is aging and somebody that looked to be on the downside of his career. Although he helped lead the Vegas Golden Knights to the Stanley Cup final, I still think Pittsburgh made the right decision by sticking with Matt Murray. Matt Murray's a franchise goaltender, and he's somebody that has been a big part of 2 Stanley Cup runs in Pittsburgh over the last 3 years. San Jose trading for Martin Jones. Jones has been absolutely sensational since coming over to the San Jose Sharks. He was originally in a backup for the Los Angeles Kings. Then LA took advantage of his trade value, and that pick eventually went to Boston for Milan Lucic. And then Jones ended up on San Jose, and in Boston ended up getting the Sharks pick as well. So that trade is pretty much worked out for 2 of the 3 parties. And I think San Jose turns out to be the big winner here, as Jones has been an absolute rock in goal and helped lead the Sharks to the Stanley Cup final in 2016. The St. Louis Blues choosing Jake Allen over Brian Elliott. There was a lot of criticism when St. Louis traded away Brian Elliott at the draft a couple years ago. It turns out that Elliott didn't work out, and for Calgary, and Jake Allen ended up being just as good as a goalie as Brian Elliott was in St. Louis, and the Blues looked like they made the right decision there. Tampa Bay re-signing Steven Stamkos. This is like Los Angeles with Kopitar. Tampa Bay did the right thing. They let Steven Stamkos stay. They avoided free agency for an opportunity to Steven Stamkos to jump ship, and he's a franchise player and is a big part of their success over the last couple seasons. Toronto hiring Mike Babcock, that was easy. Ever since he's been there, pretty much, they've been a contender. Except that first season in which they tanked for Austin Matthews. Other than that, Babcock's done a great job in Toronto in helping develop players such as Mitch Marner and William Nylander and Matthews as well. The Vancouver Canucks drafting Brock Boeser. Boeser proved to be a steal at where Vancouver selected him, and he's going to be a star in this league for years to come. The Vegas Golden Knights, this one's easy, hiring George McPhee to run their hockey operations. McPhee went in there and has done an outstanding job. I don't think he could have done a better job picking the right players that he did in the expansion draft, such as William Karlsson, Jonathan Marchessault, Marc-Andre Fleury among them, Colin Miller, who just got a contract extension. So McPhee has done an absolutely outstanding job, and he was so deserving of the Executive of the Year award in the National Hockey League this past season. Washington Capitals training for TJ Oshie. Oshie's come into Washington and produced very well. St. Louis probably should have gotten more back in that deal, as Oshie's become a better player in D.C. than he was in St. Louis. And he's been a big help to Alex Ovechkin and company in D.C. and was a big part of their Stanley Cup run this past year. And the Winnipeg Jets, this one's easy, drafting Patrick Laine. Laine was the second best player in the 2016 draft. Winnipeg got their hands on him, and he's a franchise player and a big reason why the Winnipeg Jets have such a bright future. Last but not least, I'm going to do my final All-Star picks with the All-Star teams being revealed tonight. Here are my official picks. The American League starters, catcher, Wilson Ramos of the Tampa Bay Rays. Ramos has had a career year so far on the Rays. I think he's a candidate to be traded at the trade deadline if somebody overpays for Ramos. Maybe it's the Washington Nationals, maybe it's the Red Sox. But Ramos has done a great job with the Rays this year. He's done a great job with calling the games for their openers, such as Ryan Stanek and Wilmer Font, and even calling games behind the plate with their starters, such as Blake Snell and Chris Archer when Archer was pitching well earlier in the year. But Ramos is very deserving of this honor. First base, Jose Abreu of the Chicago White Sox. He's put together another productive season, although he's kind of faltered a little bit of late, but Abreu is still a solid choice there. Second base, Jose Altuve of the Houston Astros. This is a lock in my mind. Altuve is an absolute star. He deserved that big contract extension that he got before the season. He's having another great year, although his power's down from last year. Shortstop, Francisco Lindor of the Cleveland Indians. Shortstop has a ton of options, but my pick is Francisco Lindor. He's the best shortstop in baseball right now. He's on pace to hit about 40 home runs this season. Third base, Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Indians. He's having yet another career year. He's in the conversation for the American League MVP. I think this is a lock. The outfield, I think these are all locks. Mookie Betts from the Red Sox having another great season. He's in play for the American League MVP. He'd be the favorite if he wasn't hurt for a couple weeks. Mike Trout of the LA Angels. Of course, Mike Trout has to be in there. He has 25 home runs on the season, and he's on pace to hit about 45 homers on the year. And Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees having another phenomenal season that I think is being overlooked because of the success of a couple of his teammates, in particular the rookies Miguel Andujar and Gleyber Torres, and some other players on his team. But Judge is having yet another phenomenal season. He deserves to be starting in right field in the All-Star game. In the DH, this is a lock too. JD Martinez of the Red Sox, to me, is the AL MVP favorite right now for what he's done with the Red Sox. He leads the league in home runs and runs batted in. And he's on his way to yet another phenomenal season. The American League reserves, catcher Salvador Perez of the Kansas City Royals. This is my Royal pick to make it. He's faltered a little bit of late, but he's still a very good catcher. First base, Yuli Gurriel of the Houston Astros. Gurriel's had a nice year. He's hitting, well, not much for power, but he's hitting in the 300s, and he's deserving of this. Although Matt Olson and Ryan Healy won't shock me if they make it. Those are two little honorable mentions there. And my catcher honorable mention is Gary Sanchez, who's currently on the disabled list. Led all catchers in home runs. It still does while he's on the DL, but he's not hitting for average, but the power and runs batted in are still there. Second base, Jed Lowry of the Oakland Athletics. He's having a career year. I think Oakland's going to trade him at the deadline for something. Honorable mention, Gleyber Torres of the New York Yankees, who's currently on the disabled list. He would have been the pick if he wasn't on the DL. Shortstops, Manny Machado of the Baltimore Orioles having another good season, although he's faltered of late. He's a lock to be traded this summer. And Gene Segura of the Seattle Mariners, who is having a career year and is deserving of the honor. Honorable mentions, Xander Bogaerts of the Boston Red Sox. Carlos Correa of the Houston Astros, Didi Gregorius of the New York Yankees, and Andrelton Simmons of the Los Angeles Angels. Wouldn't surprise me if Simmons made it because he was hitting very well. He's having the best offensive season of his career. And then he was hurt for a couple weeks, so I don't think he'll make it. Third base, Eduardo Escobar of the Minnesota Twins. Escobar was playing both third and shortstop for the Twins. Now he's just strictly playing third base with the struggles of Miguel Sano, who's currently an A-ball. And now that Jorge Polanco is back as the shortstop, I think Eduardo Escobar gets the nod at third base while having his career year. Honorable mentions, Miguel Andujar of the New York Yankees, who's had a great season as a rookie and is hitting with a ton of power and getting a lot of extra base hits. And Matt Chapman of the Oakland Athletics, who's currently on the disabled list and is pretty good defensively as well as offensively. Outfielders, Teoscar Hernandez of the Toronto Blue Jays. There's my Blue Jay pick. He's had a career year, and I think he's deserving of this. Nicholas Castellanos of the Detroit Tigers. Here's my Tiger, who is pretty good and is in a contract year, I believe, next year. And it won't surprise me if the Tigers trade him at the deadline. Mitch Haniger of the Seattle Mariners, who's off to an outstanding start. Good two-way player. He faltered after the big April that he had. Honorable mentions for the outfield in the American League. Andrew Benintendi of the Boston Red Sox. Aaron Hicks of the New York Yankees, who are both off to good starts this season. Both of those guys are actually off to slow starts in April, and they've turned their seasons around. And DH Shin-Soo Choo of the Texas Rangers, who I think's been outstanding. Although his contract is hideous, he's had a good season. And your DH honorable mention, Nelson Cruz of the Seattle Mariners. I chose Choo because I needed a Ranger on this list. And another outfield honorable mention is, ironically, a Texas Ranger, Nomar Mazara. American League pitchers. I believe the guy that will start the All-Star game is Luis Severino of the New York Yankees. He's been the best pitcher in baseball this season. He's second in ERA, first in wins among the American League ranks. He had a subpar start yesterday by his standards, which lowered his ERA, but I think he's deserving of the start. Other starting pitchers, Chris Sale of the Boston Red Sox, who's having yet another fine season. Blake Snell of the Tampa Bay Rays leads the American League in ERA right now. Justin Verlander of the Houston Astros, who many think will get the start of this game because A.J. Hinch, his manager, is the AL All-Star manager. Trevor Bauer and Corey Kluber of the Cleveland Indians, who are both off to fine starts this season. Honorable mentions for the American League, Charlie Morton and Garrett Cole of the Houston Astros. CC Sabathia of the New York Yankees among them. James Paxton of the Seattle Mariners, who pitched a no-hitter earlier in the year. Relievers, Aroldis Chapman of the New York Yankees, having another great season. His best season as a Yankee. Craig Kimbrell of the Boston Red Sox. who is probably the most valuable reliever in the American League, considering that the Red Sox bullpen isn't great outside of Kimbrel. Blake Trinan of the Oakland Athletics, who's having a career year so far. I think a trade candidate as well. Edwin Diaz of the Seattle Mariners leading the AL and Major League Baseball in saves. And Chris Stavinsky of the Houston Astros, who's having another fine season. Honorable mentions in terms of relievers. Lou Trevino of the Oakland Athletics. Chad Green of the New York Yankees. Dellin Betances of the New York Yankees, who's had a monster turnaround after a slow start this season. National League starters. Catcher JT Realmuto of the Miami Marlins. Since coming back off the disabled list to begin the year, JT Realmuto has been fantastic on an awful Marlins team. And I think that somebody's going to overpay for him at the trade deadline. First base, Freddie Freeman, Atlanta Braves. There's a lot of good first base options, but Freeman's my pick because his team is in first place in the division, and I think he's very deserving. He's hitting in the 300s and driving in runs and hitting homers as well. Second base, Scooter Gennett of the Cincinnati Reds. I think Gennett is having a career year, and I think deserving of this honor, although there are other candidates that might get picked over Gennett. Shortstop, Brandon Crawford of the San Francisco Giants. He's having a great year. He's hitting for average. He's has a little pop in his bat. Third base, Nolan Arenado of the Colorado Rockies, having yet another awesome season, so deserving of the honor. Outfielders, Matt Kemp of the Los Angeles Dodgers, having his best season in a long time. Lorenzo Cain of the Milwaukee Brewers, currently on the disabled list, but I think he's the deserving starter, although he probably won't start because he's on the DL. Nick Markakis of the Atlanta Braves, finally getting into an all-star game. And DH Jesus Aguilar of the Milwaukee Brewers, somebody who's been swinging the bat so well since the month of May. National League reserves, catcher Buster Posey of the San Francisco Giants. Posey's having yet another fine season, hitting for average and driving in some runs. Honorable mention, some hard ones to find here. Maybe Jorge Alfaro of the Phillies, who's been throwing out guys left and right and been a big part of Philadelphia's success. Yasmani Grandal, who's also hitting the ball well for the Dodgers, well, especially from power. First base, Paul Goldschmidt of the Arizona Diamondbacks. What a turnaround for him. He's been outstanding since his slow start. Honorable mentions, Joey Votto and Jose Martinez of the Reds and the Cardinals, respectively. Second baseman, Ozzie Albies of the Atlanta Braves, hitting for power, although his average has dipped a little bit. And Javier Baez of the Chicago Cubs. Those are my two National League Reserves picks for second baseman. Other second basemen that deserve a little love as Durval Cabrera of the New York Mets, who has faltered after a slow start. And DJ LeMahieu of the Colorado Rockies, who's still hitting as usual. Shortstop Trey Turner of the Washington Nationals. He's been awesome of late. He's been a big part of the Nationals' success over the last couple years, and I expect him to have a big second half. He's driving in runs, and he's hitting for some power. Couple honorable mentions here in the National League in terms of shortstops, such as Addison Russell of the Chicago Cubs. Third baseman Eugenio Suarez of the Cincinnati Reds, having a career year after being extended. He is on his way to having the best year of his career. What a great trade made by Cincinnati originally, trading Alfredo Simon, taking advantage of his trade value and getting back Eugenio Suarez. And Suarez has been a very awesome Red since he's been in Cincinnati. An honorable mention for third base, currently on the disabled list, Chris Bryant of the Chicago Cubs. He's having another good year in terms of hitting the ball, but his power was down. But he's my honorable mention in terms of third baseman. Outfield, Bryce Harper of the Washington Nationals. Yes, he's been abysmal in terms of hitting. but his power and runs batted in are still up there among the better ones in the league, and he'll get in because he's Bryce Harper. Corey Dickerson is my Pirate representative. He's having a career year, and he's going to be a free agent after the year. I expect Pittsburgh to trade him at the trade deadline. David Peralta of the Arizona Diamondbacks is one of my Diamondback representatives, other than Paul Goldschmidt. He's having a good season. He's driving in runs, hitting for power. And Abdul Herrera of the Philadelphia Phillies. He's one of my Philly representatives, and he's having a fine season in center field. And he's hitting third for Philly now, which is unbelievable. National League pitchers, my pick to start this All-Star game is Max Scherzer of the Washington Nationals, who's having yet another fine season. And he's been great since becoming a member of the Nats, and is one of the favorites to win the NL Cy Young Award yet again. Other starting pitchers, Jacob deGrom of the New York Mets, who leads the National League in ERA. John Lester of the Chicago Cubs, who's having a good year, good bounce-back year after a disappointing year last year. Mike Falta-Units of the Atlanta Braves, who's been the Braves' best pitcher this season. Aaron Nola of the Philadelphia Phillies, who has been awesome this season. Miles Mikolas of the St. Louis Cardinals. There's your Cardinals representative, who's had a pretty solid season. Although I do think he will regress in the second half of the year. He deserves the All-Star nod. Relievers, Kelvin Herrera of the Washington Nationals. He would have been an AL representative if he was still a Royal. Brad Hand of the San Diego Padres. There's my Padres representative. Brandon Morrow of the Chicago Cubs, who's having a good season and getting saves for the Cubs, although he missed some time with an injury. Sir Anthony Dominguez of the Philadelphia Phillies, who's been called up and been brilliant coming out of the Phillies pen, got a couple 6-out saves for them. And Josh Hader of the Milwaukee Brewers having a career year and is the most valuable member of the improved Milwaukee Brewers bullpen. Some honorable mentions in terms of National League relievers. Adam Ottavino of the Colorado Rockies. And in terms of starters, Ross Stripling of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Patrick Corbin of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Sean Newcomb of the Atlanta Braves. And back in terms of relievers, I mentioned already Adam Ottavino of the Colorado Rockies, Bud Norris of the St. Louis Cardinals, Rafael Iglesias of the Cincinnati Reds, Sean Doolittle of the Washington Nationals, among honorable mentions. And that's it for my All-Star picks, and that's it for today's podcast. I'll be back tomorrow recapping all of the All-Star selections, as well as the baseball action from today and looking at to tomorrow's games. And I'll talk about the worst of the NFL since 2013. And I'll talk about the Summer League and a lot more and any other news that breaks in the sports world. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.